7% interest rates, increasing home values, and everything seeming to get more expensive these days may have you asking, is now still a good time to buy a home? Unfortunately, I can't answer that question for you, but I can help you understand why it still may be a good time to buy in the Houston area. I'm Staci Russell, your Northwest Houston Realtor, educating buyers, sellers, and investors on all things real estate. I'm here to help you make sense of this crazy real estate market and give you some insight to help you make the best decision for you. If you feel like you need a little extra help understanding how to navigate
what the heck is going on in the current market,
be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I work really hard to research topics and create videos that address the uncertainty and frustration that buyers and sellers are facing today. My goal is to give you hope and help you create a plan to reach your real estate goals. So speaking of topics creating uncertainty, figuring out if now is a good time to buy is high up on the list. By now, you've probably seen the Redfin article titled, "There are only 4 major US metro areas where it's cheaper to buy a home than rent." It's a really long title, but I promise it's worth the read, and I've linked the article in the description. It highlights the fact that nationwide, the typical home costs 25% more to buy than to rent. It further explains that even if interest rates fell to 5% versus the 6.5% they used in their example, buying a home would still cost 10% more than renting. Overall, this article was pretty frustrating to read because it highlights just how crazy this real estate market is and how hard it is to be a first-time home buyer. But luckily, there was a glimmer of hope when the article referenced that Houston, along with Detroit, Philadelphia, and Cleveland, were the 4 cities where it was cheaper to buy than rent. Remember how I mentioned the article referenced that nationally, the typical home costs 25% more to buy than to rent? Well, in these 4 cities, the opposite is true. Detroit leads these cities in being the least expensive city to buy versus rent. There, it's 24% less expensive to buy than rent. In Philadelphia, it's 7% less expensive. In Cleveland, it's 4% less expensive. And in Houston, it's 1% less expensive. Specific to Houston, 52% of properties are cheaper to buy than to rent, compared to nationally at only 19%. The article goes on to explain how buying a home in the Bay Area is more than
twice as costly as renting.
With this data, it is no surprise that 0% of these homes in these areas are cheaper to buy than to rent. So when we're asking ourselves if now is still a good time to buy a home, we have to keep in mind that the data about owning versus rental affordability is just one piece of the puzzle. And now that you know that Houston is one of the few cities where it is less expensive to buy than rent, I want you to start to think about other pieces of the puzzle. Depending on your personal and financial situation, you may have a 50-piece puzzle or you may have a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about puzzles now.
Here are just a few factors to consider when you're deciding if now is the right time to buy. The first would be, are you staying put or are you planning on moving in the near future? Buying and maintaining a home can be very expensive. It may not be financially beneficial for you to buy a home if you plan on moving before you can gain equity and sell your house for a profit. The second would be, have you talked to a lender to figure out your budget and estimated monthly payments? I always recommend talking to a lender be the first step that potential homeowners go through. The reason for that is because a lender can look at your finances, your credit score, and your employment stability to help you understand what your budget is and what your monthly mortgage payments will look like on specific properties. Lenders are also able to run scenarios for you so that you have options and you feel confident moving forward with your home purchase. The third factor would be, how will you pay for your home? If you're one of the few people who can pay cash for their home,
stop watching this video and go buy a house immediately.
Just kidding. I don't give financial advice, but if you are paying cash, interest rates are not going to affect you, and you really only have to worry about paying taxes, insurance, and HOA fees if you even have an HOA. However, if you are a first-time home buyer, you're more than likely going to be financing some or all of your home purchase. It's just really good to remember that this market has made lenders get creative and come up with some pretty awesome loan products to help you during this process. I'm talking about things like TDECU's 100 and 103% conventional financing, buy-down products, and refinancing when rates drop. The next factor would be, do you have the money for upfront fees, down payment, and closing costs associated with buying a home? If you told me that you are ready to buy a home right now, I would ask you, do you have money available to cover your fees, like your earnest money, your option fee, and inspection fees? And additionally, do you have money that you can access about 30 days from now to pay for the remainder of your down payment and closing costs? If you're scratching your head right now thinking, what is an option fee? I want you to take a look at my video, Unveiling Buyers' Expenses. This will give you a breakdown on what to expect to pay throughout the home buying process. One of the last topics of the Redfin article was that Redfin is predicting mortgage rates to drop below 6% by the end of the year. The Federal Reserve has made progress in its fight against inflation, but even with this progress, Redfin says that it's unlikely that rates will return to 3%.
I have my own theories on what will happen if interest rates drop even slightly, but I don't have a crystal ball and I'm not an economist. I work with the facts that I have, and what I know for sure is that although rates are high and supply is low, there is less competition between buyers in the current market.
Homeownership comes with perks like building wealth, having a consistent monthly payment, and tax benefits. So the sooner that you're able to purchase a home, the sooner you'll be able to enjoy those benefits. So if you're financially able to make it work, I encourage you to start taking the steps to buy a home. However, if you're not financially ready, that's okay. You don't want to be house poor and living paycheck to paycheck in your house that you have no furniture in and can't afford to live your life. Also, you don't want to have buyer's remorse because you felt pressured to buy a home. Ultimately, the question, is now still a good time to buy a home, depends on you and what you're comfortable with personally and financially. What do you guys think about buying a home in the current market? What are your predictions about interest rates dropping below 6% by the end of the year? I'd really love to hear your thoughts and feedback so that we can get a conversation going and we can bounce ideas off of each other and see different perspectives on this topic. If you found this video helpful, please take a second to like it so that YouTube will push it out to more people who are asking themselves the same question of, is now still a good time to buy a home? As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.